when the birds come from the spring migration, they sing, they have territories. What happens next? A male sings and then he meets a female. Yeah? So we have a male and a female. We have an image of two birds that male and female, they care for their chicks, they build nests, they hatch the eggs, care for their chicks, and they're very, very good family. Of course, the reality is much more complex, okay? Indeed, we have birds that pair for life. So male and female make a pair, and these pair bonds survive until one of the mates die. Can you name such birds? Swans. Yes, a very good example, swans. Another examples, ravens, like those ravens here. Big raptors like eagles. Even the small jackdaws that are, oh, you see those jackdaws? They pair for life. Yeah, really they do. They pair for life. Generally, big birds that live for a long period. Do male and female stork make a pair that stays for the whole life or not? The answer is yes and no. Because in birds like swans or eagles or geese too, males and females stay together for the whole year. In the breeding season, during migration, in winter, in spring, so they stay together the whole time. With storks it's different. They come back to the nest, form a pair, have their chicks, but they live separately. So in fact they are not faithful to each other, they are faithful to their nest. So that when they come back to the same nest, they form the same pair again, okay? But it's not like in Africa they don't form the pair. They can winter in several hundred kilometers away, not knowing what happens to the other one. But when they come in spring, usually they come to the same nest, and so they meet again and form the same pair. Of course, there are also other possibilities. For example, when you see little ducks, do they stay with both parents or just one? Only their mother. Yes, exactly. So for example, with the ducks, the male and the female make a pair, so there is one pair only, but the male stays with the female only after she lays the eggs, and then he leaves. So the female has to care for the chicks on her own. Of course, the chicks are quite well developed when they hatch. It's not a big problem. She just has to show them the food. And the male is very colorful, so he would attract the predators too much into the nest if he cared for the youngs as well. Okay, can we call the nest a bird's home? It's different than mammals. For example, when a fox has its den, its hole, it stays there for the whole time. We can call it its home, okay? But the birds build the nests only for breeding. The rest of the year they are homeless. There are a few exceptions. There are birds like the tree sparrow, we talked about the tree sparrow today, that during winter it winters in nest boxes and builds something like a nest inside to keep it warm. But now, do all birds build nests? No. Can you give me some examples of birds that do not build nests? So the seabirds, they'll just lay an egg just on the rock. No feathers, no lining, no grass, nothing. Other examples? Like the kestrel, for example. They, generally falcons do not build their own nest, but rather they use the nest of other birds. For example, they may use the nest of crows or rooks. So they don't build their own, but just they use a nest which is not used some old nests of other birds. Sticks. Yes, lots of birds use sticks. Do you know any birds that breed in the holes in the ground? In the burrows in the ground. Do you know any birds like that? Sand martins. That's a very good example. Yes, we have a sand martin here. And you can see even there is a sandy bank with holes made by the sand martin. So that's an example of a bird that breeds in the burrows. So not only mammals build burrows, build holes in the ground, but also birds can do that.
And kingfishers.
And kingfishers, very good. What do they put in the nest, for example? Feathers, moss, very good. Some grasses, lots of soft materials. I would like to show you something that I found only yesterday. This is the inner part of a nest. Most probably it is the nest of a song thrush. Take a look at it, feel it, look what it's made of, and just pass it around, okay? Look how solid it is. And it was made, the bird doesn't have any hands, okay? It was made just by the beak. You can also see inside there are pieces of eggshells. So eggs. Everybody knows that the bird lays eggs. Bird lay eggs, okay? I'm sure that all of you, of course, know what are the parts of the eggs. Yeah? There is, what is around the egg? Shell. What is inside? Albumen and yolk. Yes, yolk is yellow and it contains nutrients that feed the embryo, and albumen makes sure that nothing inside gets damaged. The shell is made of, there is calcium, okay, but it's not only calcium. It's calcium carbonate. We have it in our bones. Where else can you find it, by the way? When you boil water in a kettle, that stuff that is left inside, it's calcium carbonate, okay? In the limestone. Limestone is simply calcium carbonate, okay? Different egg sizes. One ostrich egg can weigh over 1.5 kilograms. The smallest, of course, hummingbirds less than a gram. But what is more important even, it's not the size of the egg, but the relative size of the egg in comparison to the size of the bird. One of the largest eggs compared to the size of the bird are laid by waders. Waders can lay eggs that are 20% of their mass. So just imagine that a 50-kilogram woman delivers a child weighing 10 kilos, and she does it 4 times. Of course, laying eggs and delivering children is totally different, but I just wanted you to have that comparison. What else? We have eggs that are, let me find something. Blue eggs, for example, with spots. This is the song thrush, probably the owner of the nest that we have here. So usually the birds that build nests inside the tree hollows or burrows or any places where the eggs are not visible, they don't have to invest into the pigments and the eggshells are simply white. Examples of 4 types of bird nestlings. You can see here the typical gesture of the young birds with their beak wide open. Feed me. Can you give an example of a bird that has such a nestlings? The blue-tits, general passerines, all the singing birds. Blue-tits, starlings, blackbirds. It has to be fed by its parents, at least in the first stages of their life. Typical for storks and raptors. So their nestlings hatch with down already on, with eyes open, but still they have to be fed by the parents. They cannot feed on their own. The young leave the nest sooner than they are able to fly. We call such a bird a fledgling. Here is a fledgling of a chaffinch, and this is a fledgling of a kestrel. So this is in fact a strategy. Look, if a predator discovers a nest with the chicks, it can eat them all. But if the chicks leave the nest and hide somewhere around, then predator may kill 1, may kill 2, but rather not the whole brood. So this is a strategy to decrease the probability of being eaten. If you want to look for the nests, do it in winter. No leaves, you can see the nests of the birds. They are not longer needing them, so you can take them, you can examine them, you can show them to the kids, but rather not do it when the breeding season is going on.
During this block number 9, I would like to talk with you about nest, about construction of a nest, and I would like to build with you creative book. It's very interesting form, active form for children when they have to write or draw book with information about something. Yeah, it could be like a story about birds, about birds' lives, or various situations. For example, first page, bird, draw, picture the bird or the name, because you remember about the age of children, yeah? So you can only draw, yeah? Another page, it is nest, picture of nest, material, place, on the tree, under the tree. Third page, for example, eggs in nest, shape, color, how many, yeah? This book was made by sometimes 5-6 persons, people together, yeah? So it's a good method to integrate children in group.